Now, I'm known in New Zealand as an impressionist, or sometimes a neo-impressionist, but that's the way I also teach. I paint anything from impressionism to abstract impressionism to pure abstract or realism if I want to, and it's one of these things that I jump from one thing. I'm a bit like a butterfly, I jump from one style to another. It's because sometimes I get a little bit bored with what I'm doing. So what I'm going to show though, just very briefly, is the fact that why I use impressionism as my starting point in all my teaching classes is that it's a very flexible medium. It's a loose medium. It gets people who are quite tight into a much more easier, flexible format. And impressionism, of course, as we know, it has lots of colour. But important of all, I work on shapes and, I guess, form. So a lot of my work is done looking at a scene, looking at realism, and then converting it by shapes and very quick stylized painting into a form that's abstract. And then from that abstract, we turn it around again and go more into impressionism or expressionism or graphic style or whatever the artist wants. Most important of all is I want my students to find themselves, to find their own style, and I'm there not as a tutor necessarily, but as a facilitator. And so what I want to show very quickly, and that's all I've got time to show, is just the idea of what the teaching style is like. So here we go. Now here's the first one. Now I've thrown a lot of paint on here, and I've done it as an acrylic wash. And acrylics I love because I've done watercolour, oil, but acrylics are more flexible. They're faster. You've got to apply them quickly because they dry quickly. But because they dry quickly, you can do lots of glazes and lots of things afterwards. And you can change your boo-boos and bring them back to life again later on. That's important. However, this could be a boo-boo. But here it is. It's very loose. It's done in a watercolour style. And I've just thrown the paint on, let it run, move it around. And now, if I look very hard, and hopefully you look very hard, you can see that there's something like a city. Buildings, perhaps. Venice, perhaps, Auckland Sky Tower, whatever. It is some sort of imagery.